Okay, so now we need to know how to find the z-scores that cut off the middle 90%. Now notice for this one, well actually let me back up. For this one, for example 6a, they were asking for a probability. And when they ask for probability, that means we're going to be using NORM.DIST. But the next one, scrolling down, oops, they're giving us the middle 90%. They're giving us an area. In the center, it's 90%. And they're asking for the z-scores. So when they ask for z-score, z-value, that's a norm inverse question. Okay, so the middle is 90%. Now, what has to be in each of the tails? So you got to think about this logically a little bit. So if the center is 90% and it's symmetric, that means there's 10% for the two tails put together. That means each tail on its own has 5%. That way the whole curve will make 1. Right? Okay, so let's go to Excel. I've got a lovely empty spreadsheet here. All right, so we're going to find, there's two values here, right? There's one on the left and there's one on the right. So we're going to find the left area, right, which would be equal to 0.05 like we just showed. And so that means that the left z-score is equal to NORM.INV. Probability is 0.05, comma 0, comma 1. All right, so there's the score on the left. Now what about for the right score? This is for the left z that we found here. Okay. Now for the right z, what's the left area? Right? Because you remember, norm inverse has to have left area. Oof. No matter what. So let's go back and look at the picture again. Okay, so if you want this value over here on the right, you're going to need to know all the area to the left. Okay, that's that whole white region in the center. That's 0.90 plus the 0.05. Make them both decimals, right? So if you want to use percents, then it's 5%, 90%, 5%. Or you can use decimal. It's really 0.90 in that center. Okay, so 0.90 plus 0.05, I can do that, equals 0.90 plus 0.05, which is 0.95. In other words, the other way to see it is that the right tail over here is 0.05. If the right tail is 0.05, then everything to the left of it's got to be 0.95. That's because of the complement rule we learned in chapter 5, that the whole curve has to add to 1. Okay, so the left area for the right-hand value is 0.95. So the right z-score is equal to norm inverse, that 0.95, comma 0, comma 1. All right, so there are the two scores according to Excel. Now let's see if we can also find them with StatCrunch, because that's just how we're going to be. So let me put this in here. Oops. There we go. Oh, hold on. There we go. I've got both values in there, and the only ones that are highlighted are the negative and the positive 1.645. Now I know you might be thinking to yourself, well, since it's symmetric, once I know one, I know the other. And that's true, absolutely. The only trick is that if it wasn't z-scores, then 0 isn't the center, and so then you'd have to know how to find each one of them anyway. Like if the mean was, say, 1066 and the standard deviation was 191, you'd have to use the same technique. So it's good to know how. All right, so let's go find it with StatCrunch. Oops. All right, so go to Stat, go to Calculators, Normal. Mean is 0, standard deviation is 1, that's fine. And then we want 0.05. Compute. Oh, it didn't seem to like me there. All right, let me try this again. 0.05. No. And I'm being silly. I'm putting it in the wrong place. I didn't pay attention to my own instructions. All right, let's go back, see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, for StatCrunch, if you're using the second type of stuff, you enter the area in the right cell, right? That's what you need to use. I'm being silly. so let me go back to StatCrunch. Oops, go back to my Java. There it is. It's not this value. It's not that the probability of x is less than 0.05. See, what it did was it put a line down at little 0.05 right there. That's not what I want at all. I want this to be 0.05. So let me delete this probability. 0.05. Oops. 0.05. Compute. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. That's the value we want, negative 1.645. Let me take a snapshot of that. There we go. Oh, what example was this? I don't remember. 6, we're on 6B. Okay. 6B part 1, because we're going to have to do it again. Export. Fine. And now we're going to do it again, but we're going to type, you have a choice. You can do 95, right? That's like what we did with Excel. So you say, okay, 95% stall to the right of that. That gives you positive 1.645. Or you can say 0.05, but just change it so that it's a right-facing area, like that. And there you go. So either one, whether you want to do the right way or the left way. So it's example 6B part 2. All right. Now I'm going to paste those in as usual to our lovely Excel spreadsheet to prove that we know what we're doing with all of this. Good. Oops, not your reports, your results. There we go. And there each part is. Nope. There we go. My results. There's the second part. Copy. Paste. All right, and you can see it's backing us up. The same numbers, negative 1.645, positive 1.645. All right, I'm going to save. Always good to save. Okay, so let's go back here. For the next one, I need the percentile rank of z equals 1.89. Now, notice I'm giving you the z value, right? So if you look back here, if I give you a z value, gives a z value, but is asking for a percentile rank, that's a NORM.DIST problem. Okay, so we need a new spreadsheet, 7.2, example 6C. Oops, probably should have bolded these since these were our answers. There, give them a little paint. Okay, back we go. So for this one, we know the z-score is 1.89. Okay, so then that means the percentile is the percentage below, right? So it's equal to NORM.DIST, that value 1.89 comma 0 comma 1 comma true. There we go. All right, so that's the percentile. Let me put it this way. That's the percentage below, or to the left. Of 1.89. And that means your percentile is actually the 97th percentile, which is the actual answer part. All right, now how can we do that with StatCrunch? Well, you pull up the normal calculator. It really helps, by the way, in case you missed it, that I have StatCrunch open in another window than the results page. That's what's allowing me to keep this little Java applet guy going. So that's kind of nice. All right, so the mean is 0, standard deviation is 1. Now this time I was given a z-value, so I'm going to do 1.89, but I want less than, because percentile is the percentage less than you. And there you can see it. It's 0.97 right there. I'm going to take a snapshot. I'm going to save it. And then I will go and copy and paste it in. There we go. And there it is. All right, last one. 7.2, example 6D. We will save our spreadsheet. All right, let's get in here. Oh, let me go enter this stuff. Hold on one sec. Poof, there it is. All that stuff that we just did. So you can see the graphs with the percentile. You can see that it was the 97th percentile and so on. All right, oops, it's this one. Okay, so now what we want to do for the next one is the opposite. So this one said, hey, here's the z-value, it's 1.89. Find me the percentile rank. Now this one I'm saying, hey, I have the 62nd percentile. I know what percentile I'm talking about. I need to know what z-score it is that cuts that off. All right, well, with StatCrunch, that's going to be pretty simple. So you put in, you know the area, you know it's 0.62. So over on the right cell, type 0.62, click compute, and there it'll tell you that the z is 0.305. All right, I'm going to take a snapshot as usual. This is 7.2 example 6D. Export. Lovely. And then I can actually paste that right here. Oops, not there. I gotta go to my results first. There we go. My results. Got ahead of myself. 6D, copy. Ooh, it's freaking out. There it is. All right, so it copied it. Now I can go to 6D in my Excel spreadsheet and paste it, and I can go into my note sheet and paste it. Everything's grand. You see a picture of what it looks like. Cool. Now we just need to find what it is. Remember, this is following those instructions again. Since it's, asking for a percentile, we're going to type the left tail probability, the mean and standard deviation into norm inverse. Okay? All right, so let me go back into it. Equals, all right, so the left area is equal to 0.62, right? That was given. So that means the z-score is equal to norm.inverse 0.62, comma 0, comma 1. And there you go. That's the z-score, just like they said it was down here. It's not a probability. I know it's a small number, but it's just a little bit to the right of 0. Because remember, the median is 0.5. That would be a percentile of 0.5. So 0.6 is just a little bit more to the right. And there we go. We've got it. That was actually Eve is in the other one. Now delete this. Fine. All right, so now your last bit is to save everything we've done. So we've learned how to find percentiles, how to use Excel and StatCrunch to find all this stuff. And our last part is just to save our Excel file because we don't want to lose it. Now we have one more problem we're going to have to do from 7.3, and we'll see you back here for that.